Welcome to Daily Magic, a cozy, growth-minded, sparkly corner of the world. Join me, Shayna Wexler, as we revel in and rediscover the abundant magic that fills our daily lives. So brew up some tea in your favorite mug, settle into your comfiest chair, and breathe deep as we create Daily Magic. Hello, my beautiful friend. I am so happy that you are here with me today. I would generally use this moment to ask you how you're doing and how you're feeling. But I already know that for a lot of you, you're not feeling okay. And I want to let you know that's okay. It's okay for you to not be okay in this moment. And I'm so happy that you are here with me, even in the midst of you not doing okay. I'm grateful that you know that when you're here, you're safe to be as you are. And I love that you're the kind of person that even when you're down, demoralized, or fearful, that you seek to find moments of joy, inspiration, and magic. It is a gift to spend this time with you, my friend. I'd love to remind you that taking a pause to emotionally hibernate for a time can be a very healthy thing. If you are one of the many humans not feeling great at this moment, I encourage you to take some time to nurture yourself and your energy, to engage in activities or rest that allow you to find a space of peace and calm within yourself. Much of the time when we're experiencing the sensation of not being okay, it's based in fear responses that are active in our body. As you may know, when we're in a fear response, our neurological system activates our sympathetic system, which is the system that we associate with fight, flight, or freeze. And our body in those moments begins to dump stress hormones into our system. This means that you're likely feeling a lot of tension in your muscles. Your heart rate is pumping super fast. Your stomach is feeling knotted in a way that makes it difficult to feel like you're hungry or that you want to eat, right? I definitely know this feeling really well. And I'm only laughing so that I don't cry. I definitely know this feeling really well. I admit that ever since 6 months ago, when I suffered the trauma of my partner unexpectedly leaving, and the upending of most of the aspects that comprised my sense of security, I've spent large bouts in prolonged states of this fearful panic response. And I also admit that I've been really hard on myself about waking up so regularly, feeling that fear in my body. I have had a lot of judgment towards myself, a lot of why can't I stay rooted in a trusting space that I'm going to be okay, right? Like I get myself to that place. I know I'm going to be okay. I have this trust. Then I wake up the next day and I'm scared again. And it's like, why can't I stay rooted? Why can't I stay in that trusting space? Why am I allowing this to impact me so deeply? And most importantly for me, why? Why isn't my mind functioning in the way that I know myself to function? I know myself to be so good at problem solving and finding creative solutions. Why is it now suddenly such a struggle to access that part of myself? I am so grateful that beyond all of my own tools in my tool belt that I use on a regular basis to help regulate, I also have access to support to help me navigate in this time in a healthy way. And one very important thing that both my therapist and my acupuncturist have relayed to me and reminded me of, and then reminded me of again, is that when we're experiencing this fear response in our bodies, when the sympathetic system is active in this way and dumping these stress hormones into our bodies, another effect that it has on us is the constriction of our cognitive functioning, which makes it much more difficult for us to be able to think and process and act in decisive and confident ways. The message that my therapist and my acupuncturist continue to repeat to me is, it is not your fault that you are not feeling like yourself right now. It is not your fault that your mind isn't functioning the way that you know that it can, the way that you're used to it working for you. This response that you're experiencing in your body is not your fault. And my friend, I know that due to recent political events, many of you are experiencing so much of that same fear in your bodies. And I know that so many of you are wanting to feel more potent, to feel more like you're able to act, and that you're finding it difficult to do so and to know how to. And I want to say to you what has been said to me. It is not your fault that you cannot access those parts of yourself right now. It isn't your fault. If you're experiencing a lot of fear, there is a neurological response happening that is keeping you from feeling clear and decisive and powerful. And that response is not your fault. So be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Have compassion for yourself. And yes, allow yourself to emotionally rest. These things that I just listed, those are not only important acts of self-care and self-worth that your body and mind and spirit are needing right now. Those are not just these important acts of self-care. They're also the very key in helping your body to get out of this fight, flight, or freeze response. I know for me, when I'm experiencing that, my natural response is to resist that feeling, to be like, no, I'm stronger than this. I can do it. I can be powerful, and to try to push. But while that system is operative, I am fighting a losing battle. The way to be able to bring myself to a space where I can be potent and I can be clear and I can be powerful is to give my body, my mind, my spirit, the things that it needs, the practices that it needs, the rest that it needs to deactivate from that heightened sympathetic space. Also, as I mentioned, the support and guidance of my therapist, my acupuncturist, and my spiritual mentor, the support of those incredible people has been invaluable to me on my journey. This personal and spirit development work that we're each doing is often referred to as, quote, self-help, which is, I think, a real misnomer, because in order to learn, in order to heal and grow and improve and develop in a healthy way, we all need support. We all need guidance and mentorship and coaching of others who are on a different part of their path and have different life experiences and have different perspectives. So no matter what your situation is, where you are right now, I encourage you to reach out for the support that you are needing right now. None of us are islands. We need one another. We need support. So please, please, please reach out for the support that you need. And if you'd like to receive guidance and coaching from me, I would be very honored to work with you. And you can just click the link in the show notes to set up a free discovery call with me. And if that is not an option for you at this time, that is perfectly fine. Please find the support that you need in your life right now. It's okay to not be able to do this alone. We are not alone. You are not alone. So getting back to what I was saying before, it's by allowing ourselves to engage in these spaces of emotional respite and to get the support that we need. It's by doing those things that our nervous system is able to de-escalate. And when it de-escalates, that is when we can begin clarifying to ourselves again who we are, who we desire to be, and what we want to leave as our personal mark on our sphere of influence. It's from that de-escalated space that we are able to start feeling those sensations of potency and clarity again. And then from those spaces, we can act and we can move forward in that inspired way. To me, the magic of not being okay, the magic that occurs as a result of these not okay spaces is that it brings us to a place of such internal discomfort that it causes us to deeply assess and reassess the priorities that we each hold for this life. When we're residing in our comfort zone, it's really easy to become a bit apathetic about our purpose within our day-to-day, right? And as much as I don't enjoy it, and let the record show that I don't enjoy it, discomfort and pain are often very powerful catalysts for positive change and refocusing in our lives. That pain, that discomfort, that feeling really causes us to go internal and become really deliberate and really reassess what is a priority to us and who we really want to be and how we really want to act and impact the world around us. Engaging in emotional rest, meditation, and specialized breath work activates the peaceful, aligned, grounded state of the parasympathetic system. And it's from there, it's from that space that I can then remember and reinvigorate my mission for my life. Regardless of what is going on around me, I can from that space realign with clarity with my chosen purpose, which for me is to share as much joy, inspiration, and the magic of life with those in my sphere of influence as I possibly can. With this podcast, my YouTube channel, my Reignite Inspiration coaching, with my very being as I go out into the world in any big or small way, I can attend to that personal mission and the purpose that I stand for. And as we each emerge from our caves in our own time, I remind you that we, as a collective of humans, we are the universe. We are the fabric of the universe. We can act on the behalf of the prayers of others. We, as a collective, we are a crucial part of the magic of this world. So let's be reminded to be the magic during this time when so many people that you know are also not feeling okay. In my episode, The Magic of Giving, we discussed the fact that the act of giving to others, being of service to others, has reciprocal properties and brings happiness responses for both the recipient and the giver. And I recently learned that from a neuroscience perspective, there are actually two kinds of happiness. The first type is hedonic happiness, which is the fleeting kind of happiness where we spike our systems with short-lived, feel-good things like drugs or alcohol or going to a concert or even food sometimes. But the second type of happiness is eudaimonic happiness, which is that deep, lasting, really satisfying, underlying happiness in our lives. And one of the top ways to experience this level and depth of happiness is giving to and helping others. Be the universe for others and you will become happier. Be the magic by serving others, you become happier. The magic of giving is the real deal, folks. Seriously. So as we wrap up this episode, I want to give you something. I want to give you something that's been incredibly helpful to me over many years. I'm going to teach you a breath that powerfully activates our grounding, peaceful parasympathetic system. This is a breath that I have been using for over a decade to help manage post-traumatic stress. This breath was taught to me by my dad, who, as you know, is a neuropsychologist and who spent the bulk of his career working with soldiers who suffered from PTSD. So during this time of life, during this season where things may be feeling very precarious for you, maybe feeling very frightening for you, are causing a lot of worry for you, I want to give you the gift of this breath to use to help you regulate your system and help you emerge from your emotional hibernation with strength, okay? Being someone who's always been very driven by personal growth and spirit development, over time, over the years, I have learned and practiced and acquired an incredible slew of magical tools and skills and modalities to help me and my clients and others in my life to navigate and to heal and grow and find joy and inspiration in this world. But I have also found that it isn't always about having an overflowing garage full of supercharged personal growth power tools, but rather it's often most helpful to have just a handful of really personalized tools right in my back pocket that I have handy anytime that need arises. And this breath is one of those for me. When I am in grounded, balanced spaces, I engage in all sorts of breath work and pranayama that heal and activate my body, mind, and spirit. However, when I'm in distress, or ideally when I can feel myself moving towards a space of distress, I reach for this breath. And because I practice it really regularly, it's always there for me when I do need it. So especially if you often experience anxiety and fear or panic or PTSD, I highly recommend practicing this one simple, easy, but very effective breath as often as possible. When I say practice, I mean using this breath, practicing repeating this breath even when you're not in distress or not leaning towards some aspect of distress. As a general rule, trying to implement a healing tool or modality for the first time when you're already in an anxiety loop is really not the best strategy. Remember what I talked about our mental constriction in those moments? It's really, really hard for us to be able to reach for something brand new in those moments, to be able to remember that we have it at our disposal. So we have to practice something enough times that it is there for us whenever we may need it. Just like everything else in life, getting good at something does take practice. You likely hear people refer to their meditation as their meditation practice. And that's because we understand that sitting on our mat and finding our center each morning or evening is practice. It's practice to be able to find our center when something comes into our day that really shakes or rocks or moves us in some kind of way. Sitting on our mat in lotus pose, looking spiritual, that is not the end. That is not, okay, I did it. No, that's not it. That is creating peaceful conditions to be able to practice finding how to get into that aligned space within us when nothing is happening whatsoever, right? But it is practice to be able to actually implement and utilize it when our conditions aren't peaceful with birds chirping and rain sounds in the background, right? It's practice. You can tell how much I'm in love with practice, almost as much as I'm enamored by consistency, right? So hot. So with this breath that I'm going to teach you, This is a breath that I practice when I am in the car, when I am at the grocery store, when I am standing in line at the airport, while I'm working. I practice it regularly, and I invite you to do so as well. Okay, so let's get into it. One of the aspects that makes this breath a back pocket tool is that it's really easy. So what I'm going to have you do is, for your inhale, take a deep belly breath. And then for your exhale, you're going to purse your lips as though you're whistling, like really push your lips out there into a tight embouchure, okay? If you put your hand kind of gently on the side of your mandible, your jawbone, you should feel the jaw activate as you put your lips into this tight whistling position. Do you feel that? When you really activate your lips in that way, do you feel the mandible activate? Good. Exactly. Yes. Okay. And now as you push out your air, you want to imagine that you are blowing your air out through a straw. Good. Okay, let's try putting these pieces together, okay? So big, deep, low inhale, then begin to push your air out evenly through your whistle lips, okay? Good. Now for your next breath with this, I want you to blow the air out through that imaginary straw as evenly and deliberately as you can. And now really try to push your air all the way to the end of your breath. Really use all the air that you have in the tank and keep that stream of air as steady as you can. Yes. So blow that air through that imaginary straw, trying to keep the stream of air as steady as possible, and push your air to the end of the breath until you don't have any breath left. And then low belly breath again. Activate those whistle lips and begin that even breath again, right? Good. I'm going to let you continue trying a few more breath cycles of this breath while telling you how magical it is and how it works. Okay, so the very cool thing about the sympathetic and parasympathetic system is that they effectively work as a lever. If one is turned on, the other is fully turned off, and vice versa. So that means that if we want to get out of a fight or flight response, we don't have to try to figure out how to turn off the sympathetic system, which you probably know feels very impossible to do when you're in that fight or flight state, right? When we get into that space, we're like, oh my gosh, how do I make this stop? And we try to figure out how to get out of that. But the really cool thing is that all we actually have to do is turn on the parasympathetic system. And the fight or flight or freeze response has to shut off. They're levers. When one is on, the other is off, right? So if we turn on the parasympathetic system, that fight, flight, freeze turns off. The two systems can't be on at the same time. So when you activate your jaw in the way you're doing right now, as you continue to practice this breath, this movement, this jaw activation, it activates our vagus nerve, which turns our grounded, peaceful parasympathetic system on. And therefore, the fear response has to shut off. Isn't that cool? We will 100% be talking more about the vagus nerve at a later time. I have had the magic of the vagus nerve on my episode list since the very beginning because it's amazing. But that is for a different day, okay? So go ahead and finish the breath cycle that you are doing right now. Take one more big deep breath. Let it go audibly. And then allow your breath to just return to normal. Good, and there you have it. The one breath to rule them all. It's easy enough, right? It really is. And it looks rather inconspicuous when you're doing this in public. It just kind of looks like you're whistling to yourself, right? Which is cute. I feel like that's cute, right? My hope is that if you only take one thing from this episode, it's this breath to practice and put in your back pocket for whenever you choose to step back out into the world. And when you do, remember to bless and be blessed, to be light and to be the universe for others, and spread your much needed magic. I love you.